Wel, croeso nôl pawb, prynhawn da i chi gyd. Rydyn ni'n symud nawr yn syth i'r cwestiynau i'r Prif Weinidog. Cwestiwn 1, Art Right.
Will the First Minister make a statement on accident and emergency provision in Newport and his loin?
The Minor Injuries Unit at the Royal Gwent Hospital, located in the Newydd and Dilyn constituency, met the national target in April. 96% of patients were assessed, treated and discharged within the 4-hour standard. But more broadly, I expect the Iorwerth University Health Board to deliver sustainable improvements to emergency care across the wider Gwent area. NHS Performance and Improvement is actively providing support and reviewing the Health Board's plan.
I thank the First Minister for his answer. It is already clear from my constituents what the majority issues they face, which are, given the continuing pressures upon emergency healthcare services across Gwent, do you agree that the lack of a full and properly functioning accident and emergency service in Newport is now having a serious knock-on effect on residents in Cwmbran and the wider Torfaen area, with constituents facing longer journey times, increased waiting times and added pressure on already stretched hospitals? Diolch.
I certainly agree that the provision of suitable, effective, high-quality accident and emergency in the members' constituency and throughout Wales is vitally important. We need a significant improvement on the current situation. And the Grange Hospital, serving the wider Gwent area, consistently falls short, of course, of meeting the 4-hour standards. Latest performance figures are unsatisfactory. Prolonged waiting times continue to pose significant challenges, so I couldn't make it clearer than to say that my Cabinet Minister for Health and Care and myself wants to see much more being done to provide the kind of level of care that the member references.
Jane Bryant.
Diolch, Llwyddodd. And as a local resident, I'm very aware of some of the unacceptable delays that people have experienced in accident emergency at the Grange Hospital. And I've also been struck by the number of people who have said to me that individual NHS staff members are trying their absolute best to provide excellent care under pressure. The previous Welsh Labour government invested significantly in the Grange Accident Emergency Department because the unacceptably long waits and corridor care experienced by some patients requires action to a systematic level. An important aspect of improving emergency care is keeping people out of hospital in the first place, as well as the safe, timely discharge of patients to free up capacity in emergency departments. Whether it's working with local authorities on social care, community care or transfers to other hospitals like the Royal Gwent, how is the Welsh Government going to fund the integration of pathways out of acute hospital care?
We know that integration has to be at the heart of creating sustainability within the health and care service as a whole. Keeping people out of hospital is an important part of that. A strong social care sector at the back door of the hospital is key to that. The member references the investment made in the Grange. What this government is determined to do is not just count the pennies, but look at the outcomes that come out of investments, and that will guide us as a principle through the course of this government.
Natasha Ashgar.
Thank you so much, Presiding Officer. First Minister, it's no secret that the state of our health service is one of, if not the most important issue that matters to residents across in Wales. It's something that came up time and time again during the election campaign when talking to people on the doorsteps. And as things stand, my constituents are sent to the Grange in Cwmbran, which is already struggling to cope with demand in an emergency situation. In Newport, there are growing calls to have an A&E department to be reopened at the Royal Gwent Hospital in the heart of the city. It's anticipated that the cost of doing this will cost approximately £10 million a year, which in the grand scheme of things is just a drop in the ocean when looking at the Welsh Government's budget. Not only would this alleviate pressure off the Grange, but it would also create job opportunities, something particularly needed given the recent warning that up to half of all nursing graduates in Wales may be left without a job due to recruitment challenges, despite NHS Wales service facing unprecedented pressures. So, First Minister, will you heed my constituents' calls and engage with the Health Board to explore reopening the A&E at the Royal Gwent in Newport? Thank you.
hear the calls, as I will hear calls, no doubt, for investment in different parts of the country. What's important to me, I think, is to recognise the challenges that are being faced by the members' constituents, to put together a level of service that provides for the needs of her constituents. Welsh Government officials, NHS Performance and Improvement and the Health Board are currently working together to agree an intervention approach based on the infrastructure that we have for the delivery of health. Let's see where we can get on improving the services in that way.
Peredur Owen Griffiths.
Diolch Llywyd. Prif Weinidog, dros y 6 mis diwethaf, ydych chi'n gwybod bod fi wedi cael profiad personol iawn o feddyginiaeth frys ar ôl disgyn yng Ngas Newydd a rhigo tendon yn ymhenglin. Nes i gael yngweld yn y Royal Went, yn y Grange, a wedyn cael llawdriniaeth yn St Woolas. Yn ystod y cyfnod hwnnw, gwelais y gorau o fwrdd iechyd yn Eirin Befin, ond hefyd y pwysau aruthrol sydd ar y system. Roedd y staff yn broffesiynol ac yn garedig ac yn gwneud i gorau glas o dan amgylchiadau anodd iawn. Gwelais hefyd beth mae pwysau ni cael ei wneud ar y system yn ei olygu i gleifion, arhosiadau hir, diffyg capacity, pwysau'r wlau, ac i fi y peth mwyaf anodd i ddelio fo oedd yr ansicrwydd cyfathrebu am beth sy'n mynd i ddigwydd nesaf. Felly, Prif Weinidog, ydych chi yn cytuno bod gwella gofal bris yng Ngas Newydd Islwyn yn golygu edrych ar y daith gyfan y claf, dim jyst y targedau, a bod cyfathrebu'n glir yn fewnol rhwng adrannau gyda cleifion a theuluoedd yn rhan anatod o wneud yn siŵr bod pobl yn cael eu trin gyda urddas o ddechrau i'r diwedd.
Hebos, yn falch o weld yr aelod yn ôl ar ei draed yn llythrenol. Mae'n cynlluniau ni i wella y gwasanaethau iechyd yn seiliedig ar ddull system gyfan, fel mae'r aelod yn ei nodi yn gywir. Mi fydd yn cynllun gweithlu newydd enghraifft yn cynnwys pwyslais ar well cynllunio strategol ar gyfer gwasanaethau mwyn hwyluso llif cleifion, yn tynnu ar arfer gorau sy'n eisiau i weld mewn rhai rhannau o Gymru. Mae angen i ledaenio a'i wareiddio fa ar raddfa genedlaethol. Da ni hefyd yn gwybod bod rhaid i'r mesurau fynd law yn llaw a cryfhau gofal cymunedol, a dwi'n gwybod bod gan yr ysgrifennydd cabinet ddiddordeb arbennig mewn sicrhau bod pwysigrwydd proffesiynau perthynol i iechyd yn gweithredu'n effeithiol a bod hynny'n cael ei adlewyrchu yn ein cynlluniau ni.
Cwestiwn 2, David Mills.
What action will the Welsh Government take to address water pollution?
Welsh Government is determined to improve water quality. We have committed to taking full control of our water and to tackling pollution through developing a system made in Wales for Wales. This includes better data, cleaner rivers and science-led, outcome-based and risk-appropriate regulation. We will act by targeting prevention and enforcement where evidence shows it is needed, using technology and nature-based solutions.
First Minister, we all know that Welsh Water is pumping raw sewage out into our rivers. Each year, they get fined millions of pounds. And each year, their CEO gets huge bonuses. I mean, this is so wrong. What concrete action is the First Minister going to take to address this?
I hope that members across this chamber will agree with Plaid Cymru's determination to take Welsh water into Welsh hands. It is because we want to set a set of values which could include senior executive pay, for example, into the way that water is run in Wales. What we want also, of course, is to have a system that works. We want clean rivers. We have a clear manifesto commitment to improving water quality and setting clear expectations of Natural Resources Wales, Ofwat and the water companies themselves. We want to be able to deliver or monitor delivery rather through this current price review period and hold companies to account for meeting their investment and performance commitments, including on matters such as storm overflows which pollute our rivers and wider environmental outcomes.
Rebecca Phillips.
Diolch, Llywyd. Over recent weeks, concerns have been raised by residents in the Swansea Valley regarding the condition of the River Tower, following reports that a number of individuals, many children, have fallen ill after entering the water. I welcome the new Plaid Cymru government's commitment to improve the collection and quality of data on pollution incidents and its ambition to ensure that every water body in Wales achieves at least good ecological status. May I ask the First Minister to provide assurance to residents within my constituency of Brycheiniog Tawe Nedd that the Government will work closely with Natural Resources Wales and Dŵr Cymru to thoroughly investigate these incidents and take the necessary action to safeguard public health and improve water quality?
I am aware of and concerned about recent reported incidents of sickness when individuals have been swimming in the River Tawe. I have asked Natural Resources Wales to investigate the reports, and I will provide an update when further information becomes available. I can provide assurance, certainly, that I will work with all stakeholders necessary to ensure a joined-up approach to any investigations and associated responses.
Is a critical environmental issue caused by sewage, agricultural runoff, industrial waste and plastic debris, severely impacting ecosystems, human health and water quality. On the River Tawe, Trebanos pumping station is not splitting rainwater and sewage, so when it gets full, the two choices are to let it back up and flood the houses with sewage or release into the river. As mentioned earlier, there have been reports of children being taken ill after swimming in the River Tawe. Natural Resources Wales has confirmed that work to prevent regular discharge of untreated sewage in the River Tawe from Trebanos wastewater treatment works is not likely to be completed until 2030. I do not believe that is acceptable. Why do you think ending the ban on slurry spreading from mid-October to January is not going to further increase pollution in the River Tawe? We know that it gets into rivers such as the Tawe. It can cause algal blooms, which block sunlight and deplete water oxygen, affecting all wildlife.
Two parts to that answer. Measures around the spreading of slurry is about avoiding environmental pollution in rivers so that agriculture isn't forced to follow the calendar and is actually able to work in a technologically based way to spread slurry in a way that doesn't pose a threat to rivers. I think that's a very important thing to remember. And on the need to make sure that investment works, that is why we want the regulation of water to be done here in Wales, so that we can make sure that when investment goes in, that it provides us with the outcomes that we need, which includes, of course, clean rivers.
Paul Davis.
First Minister, reports of sewage discharges in Caerdydd and Pembroke are also far too frequent, and my constituents are increasingly frustrated that these incidents continue to occur with little visible progress in addressing this pollution. Now, as well as tackling these discharges and storm overflows, urgent action is also needed to improve our water infrastructure to prevent these incidences from recurring. Now, as you're aware, West Wales is home to many blue flag and green coast beaches, and it's vital that these water quality standards can continue to be met so that our coast can be enjoyed by local residents and indeed visitors to the area as well. Therefore, can you outline what steps are currently being taken to address repeated sewage discharges in West Wales? And further to your earlier answers, what further measures will this government introduce to tackle this issue in Caerdydd and Pembroke and ensure that the local beaches continue to maintain high quality standards?
I think the most important thing to do is to repeat what I said. We will act by targeting prevention and enforcement where evidence shows it is needed. That means in relation to polluted rivers, and it means in relation to polluted seas around our coast. We want to see urgent action. It is why we want to see regulation of Wales being devolved to Wales, so that we can have as much influence as possible on the cleanliness of our rivers and our seas.
Jane Dodds.
And good afternoon, First Minister. I just want to go back to the issues around Dŵr Cymru, if I may, please. In just 2 years, people have seen their average water bill rise by over 30%, yet this is not translated into clear improvements in water quality. England and Wales remain the only countries in Europe to have fully privatised water and sewerage services. At the same time, senior pay, as we've heard, remains extremely high. The previous chief executive of Dŵr Cymru received an annual salary close to £900,000. The current new chief executive, Roch Sharu, who joined from Sydney Water in Australia, another large water company that has faced ongoing challenges with sewage overflows and water quality, his salary is going to be between 420,000 and 460,000. I think that is pretty shameless. So I would like to ask you, what action will you be taken in order to address both the disparity in our water bills increasing and the pay that we're seeing in the senior executives, and ensuring that we get improved water? Diolch yn fawr iawn.
The rising cost of bills in recent times has caused real pain to people. You know, it is an element, a significant element for many people when it comes to the challenges of cost of living. And when you look at higher bills, it is particularly difficult to stomach in the context of very high executive pay. I am on the record previously as saying that one of the reasons that we want to regulate water in Wales is to make sure that we are able to have influence over the levels of executive pay. But it's about providing a better service ultimately to our customers here in Wales, so the people that we represent, and making sure that we have the clear waters and the clear seas that we all want to see.
Galwaf yn awr ar arweinwyr y pleidiau I holi'r Prif Weinidog, arweinydd Reform UK, Dan Thomas.
Diolch, Llwyddodd. First Minister, thousands of people in Wales are still waiting more than 2 years for treatment on the Welsh NHS. Whereas in England, 2-year waits were virtually eradicated some time ago, which proves that ending 2-year waits can be achieved. During the election campaign, you said that 2-year waits could end in a matter of months, but your new health minister has said it will happen within 4 years. So my question is, what expectations has your government set for 2-year waits? Is it the promise that you made during the election campaign, or is it what your health minister has said more recently? And if it is the latter, will you apologise to voters for misleading them during the campaign?
I'm grateful to the Leader of the Opposition for now agreeing with us that health is a priority here in Wales. Listen, I've made it very, very clear that there are two elements to what we're trying to do. We want to cut waiting lists in the short term, and we want to build a sustainable health and care service for the long term. I reiterate that a priority for us now is to tackle in the coming months those issues of the longest 2-year wait. And in fact, I'm not waiting for the next months. Work has already begun to put in practice the changes that are necessary to tackle that very issue.
First Minister, 30% of voters voted for reform because they do trust us with the NHS. And 10,000 people were stuck in A&E for over 12 hours last month, and ambulance handover targets are consistently missed. Health should be your top priority, and you recently acknowledged this in the Chamber, that there is an emergency situation within the NHS. But on social media, you've highlighted the non-devolved matter of international relations as being within your remit as First Minister, and an area which enjoys a £9 million budget. Now, Reform believes that that money should be spent here in Wales on the Welsh NHS. And, for example, it could be used to employ hundreds of newly qualified nurses. So, First Minister, why are you continuing Labour's policy of spending large sums of money abroad when it should be spent in Wales, and we should be putting the people of Wales first?
Yeah. I'll begin this answer in the spirit that I want to conduct my business here by pointing out that more people voted for Plaid Cymru because they trusted our pledges to deliver a sustainable health and care service for the future. Let's be serious about the challenges that we face rather than the small change that is referred to by the Leader of the Opposition. We are talking about significant sums of money that we are investing already through a budget deal last year into the NHS. But I can assure you of this. It's through innovation, it's through working with staff within the NHS that we provide that sustainability for the future. I remind the Leader of the Opposition that he leads a group in Wales from a party whose leader does not believe in an NHS funded through general taxation. That is a principle that we will defend here as we deliver that NHS that's fit for the future for patients and for staff alike.
Well, I'll remind the First Minister that Plaid Cymru only won 6% more than reform, and that very small lead can be eroded when you do not stick to your policies and when you do not show determination to put the people of Wales first. So I'll just remind you of that. But you have made clear that your priorities are elsewhere, but that's not surprising coming from a First Minister who on your first call with the Prime Minister raised independence as an issue. The public expect you and your government to give your full attention to the NHS, to focus on the day job. You will be aware of an investigation by Audit Wales that uncovered £10 million worth of GP contracts were awarded without due diligence and with patients criticising the service. This is a scandal that should never happen again. What discussions have you had with your Iorwerth Bevan Health Board and indeed all health boards across Wales regarding financial probity, and can you reassure us that this scandal will not be repeated under your watch?
It's going to be a very long Senedd term. It's about if it starts in this way, but we got certain percentage more than you in the election. Listen, we have a programme for government that we have laid in front of the people of Wales, which absolutely gets to grips with issues such as that which was referred to in Iorwerth Bevan. We want to make sure that we cut out the decisions such as the one that he referred to, so that we can focus spending on where it makes a difference to the patients that we all are here to serve. The programme for government, I remind, is this. It is about creating better jobs in all parts of Wales. It is about raising education standards. It is about a childcare offer in order to help with the cost of living. It's about standing up for Wales. And number one, it's about creating an NHS and care service that is fit for the future. That was our pledge, and that was what we are determined to deliver in government.
Arweinydd Lafur Cymru, Ken Skates.
First Minister, again we are seeing the terrible impact of rising energy costs across Wales on our citizens, on our businesses and of course on our public services. Our dependence on energy from overseas must end, not only because it threatens our national security, but because it also subjects our people to immense global instability. Do you agree that alongside renewables, the building of as many as 8 small modular reactors at Wylfa offers enormous opportunity to provide energy security, lower bills and 8,000 jobs, 3,000 of which will be in your constituency?
Yes, I have on a personal level, always taken the approach of fighting for the economic benefits that come to that particular part of Wales from that development, which is a reserved matter. But the key thing is here that my Cabinet Minister for Energy will be focused on the same thing. It's about looking at how we make the most of this opportunity in terms of job creation and in terms of the environmental impact of that. And the member has my assurance that that will be the principle that guides us.
To the First Minister for his answer, but can we just have absolute clarity on what the Welsh Government position on small modular reactors now is? I ask because your manifesto failed to reference nuclear energy, failed to provide support for SMRs at Wylfa, and of course your Energy Minister has said that the party, Plaid Cymru, at a national level must be clear in its opposition to Wylfa B. Does this Plaid minority government support the building of 8 SMRs at Wylfa, which will likely generate more energy than a single gigawatt facility?
I remind the leader of the Labour group that his party used to say that it supported the ordinary working man and woman. My position on Wylfa is very, very clear. This is a reserved matter, and the manifesto coming into this election said that there were matters that were reserved, which absolutely includes Wylfa. We will work positively on that particular plan because of the economic benefits locally that can flow from it and across the wider region, plus on the elements of the environmental positives associated with it.
The Caedwadwyr Cymraeg, Darren Miller.
Thank you. First Minister, can you tell us what action your government is going to take to deal with the repeated chaos as a result of the frequent closure of the Menai Suspension Bridge? It's causing misery for residents, commuters and businesses across North Wales. And of course, that bridge and the Britannia Bridge serve an island community of 70,000 people that you represent, which is home to one of the most strategically important ports in the United Kingdom and will soon be home to a very important nuclear power facility as well. My colleague, Janet Finch-Saunders, has responded to the anger on the ground by taking the lead and organising a public meeting in order that this can be discussed on the 12th of June in Llangefni, so that the long-term resolution can be brought forward. You've previously spoken loudly and clearly in the Senedd in favour of a third Menai crossing. So now that you're sitting behind the First Minister's desk, can you show some leadership, attend that public meeting on the 12th of June, look residents in the eye and outline precisely what action your government is going to take to bring forward that third Menai suspension bridge as soon as possible?
I think most people can see who's been fighting for a long time over that particular issue, and I'm certainly not planning on waiting until the 12th of June. People in Ynys Môn have been let down for too long when it comes to the resilience of the Menai crossings. It is unacceptable that we have been in this position where deadlines have been missed time and time again, and where work to fix a bridge that could and should have been done a long time ago is still dragging on year after year. Where previous governments refused to see this problem as a priority, this new Welsh Government will act with greater urgency and focus. And as I say, I won't wait until the 12th of June. I've committed to renewing the process of developing solutions to improve the resilience of transport links across the Menai Strait. That's why we have already begun work within government with a view to ensuring short-term measures around the Menai crossing and long-term solutions for resilience across the Menai Strait. And yes, the third crossing is a part of those considerations. But let me remind you this, it's not a structure that we need, it's an answer. Let's get the answer and move there quickly.
We absolutely need a solution. Of course, you had an opportunity. Every time you did a budget deal and a legislation deal with the previous Welsh Government, you could have actually brought forward some solutions and put some money in the tin in order to get this project on the go. But you didn't, did you? Because it wasn't one of your priorities. Instead, you and the Plaid Cymru MSs at that time voted against major investment in our roads infrastructure across the country, not just in North Wales, but also, of course, on the M4 corridor in the south as well. You actively blocked major road building projects across this country. Now that your party is in government, you have nowhere to hide. The previous Labour administration wasted £150 million developing an M4 relief road project, which they then ditched. You welcomed the decision to ditch that project and chuck that money down the drain. And meanwhile, the gridlock around Newport continues to strangle growth, deter investment and leave thousands of people every single day trapped in traffic jams. During the election, you changed your tune. You promised to resolve the issue. The public want action, not words. So can you tell us, First Minister, when will we see action, not just on the Menai crossing, which you've referred to, but the M4 relief road too?
It's a very long question, but with a very short answer. The Brynglas tunnels are a well-known bottleneck and an economic constraint for Wales. And it's clear that action is needed to address congestion on the M4. Money was wasted, I must say, in getting to a place when nothing has happened in recent years. And this government is already doing the work to identify the solutions that will be effective and economically and environmentally responsible in order that we can deliver long-term benefits socially and economically for the people of, yes, the south-east of Wales and the Brynglas areas, but we know that it's much wider than that too. But that doesn't take away from the work that also happens to improve infrastructure and improving public transport and so on.
Question 3, Paul Rock.
Diolch, Llwyd. How will the First Minister ensure that progress in responding to the nature and climate crisis across government portfolios is transparently and meaningfully measured and reported without a specific Minister for the Environment?
Across all of our commitments, this government will measure progress through a clear, data-led and disciplined approach, tracking what is actually changing on the ground so that we can see what is working. The Cabinet holds collective responsibility for the cross-cutting issues of climate and nature, and we're committed to clear public reporting on Wales's progress towards net zero through an accessible online dashboard.
Diolch, First Minister. The homes of my constituents in Nantgarw were devastated by flooding in 2020, and they live in constant fear that this will happen again. The devastating impact on communities of extreme weather is only going to become more common as the climate crisis develops. As Greens, we believe government effectiveness must include effectiveness on tackling the climate and nature crisis, and a joint working approach between the Minister for Rural Resilience and Sustainability and the Minister for Government Effectiveness and Constitution with termly reporting would be the best way to approach this. How will you measure and report on the effectiveness of action taken by the Welsh Government in tackling the climate and nature crisis to ensure accountability to this Senedd and to the people whose lives are affected?
I agree very much with the sentiment that has been expressed there, and it's in the title of the minister. Cabinet Minister for Government Effectiveness means exactly that. It's making sure that as a government we are able to break down those silos, encourage cooperation between ministers, making sure that there aren't sort of walls between those different elements of potential delivery that can address the climate challenge. And it's not just the Cabinet Minister for Government Effectiveness and the Cabinet Minister for Rural Resilience and Sustainability. It's the way that dovetails in with the work of the Cabinet Minister for Enterprise, for Innovation and Energy. It's the way that we educate our young people through the Cabinet Minister for Education. I really wish this to be a hallmark of the way that this government works and operates. As I said in my initial answer, we will be providing the tools by which you hopefully will be able to hold us to account, including these digital dashboards that we are so determined to bring forward.
Niamh Salkeld.
Diolch, Llwyd. First Minister, this question raises how progress on the climate and nature emergency is measured and reported across government. In my constituency of Blaid Lafur, we see very clearly why that matters. In Cwestiynau, a devastating coal-tip landslide over a year ago brought home how the climate crisis directly impacts our lives. With 85 tips in the highest risk category across Wales, communities are asking not just where the work is happening, but how progress is being tracked and shared. I welcome this Plaid Cymru government's commitment to remediation and to working with the UK government on funding, as well as linking this to jobs in former coalfield communities like mine. But without cross-government reporting, people on the ground can struggle to see how these commitments translate into measurable change. So can I ask the First Minister what mechanisms will be used to ensure that progress on coal-tip safety and wider climate resilience work is measured and reported across portfolios so that communities like Cwestiynau can have confidence that risks are being reduced and opportunities delivered? Diolch.
The member's right. This government is committed to dealing with the consequences of our industrial past and ensuring justice for our coalfield communities. I did visit Cwestiynau myself after that recent landslip, which really brought home the threats that so many communities are facing. Now, we know that addressing threats associated with coal tips will need a sustained programme of investment. The mining industry, of course, predates devolution, so we're clear of the view that it's the UK government that should foot that bill. We'll make the case for that, and as part of our suite of measures, we will obviously want to enable members across this chamber to be able to measure progress against that stated aim.
R.T. Davis.
Thank you, First Minister. First Minister, for the policies of the government to be effective in the environment portfolio, you need some of the best land managers in the world to be looking after our countryside. And we have them in Wales, in the farming community. One of the key issues, though, to make sure that they stay on the land is to really make progress on bovine TB. Your government has indicated via the Minister that there will be a new approach to bovine TB. So can you confirm what your interpretation is of the science that makes your approach different from the failed Labour approach that used to prevail here in Wales? And will we see that new bovine TB plan before the Royal Welsh Show in the summer recess?
The member is right that my party is determined to bring forward a new approach. I'll put it this simply. It has to be based on the science. We will be ensuring that we work with those experts now who are able to provide us with the answers, and the Cabinet Minister will bring details forward in due course.
Cwestiwn 4, Stephen Senior.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Will the First Minister commit to offering separate physics, chemistry and biology GCSEs and reverse the previous administration's plans to offer only combined science?
Qualifications Wales announced in September 2025 that separate GCSEs in physics, chemistry and biology would continue to be available.
I think the First Minister knows that there is a review of that over the next 2 years, and I'm disappointed that he can't at this stage commit to saying that he would reverse that review over a 2-year period. I should declare an interest. I'm a member of the Institute of Physics, and I'm also a member of both the ASCL and NASUWT teaching unions. I was reminded seeing the film recently, the quite delightful film of the First Minister singing back in 1983, and I also recall that back in the 1980s, like myself, he probably had a choice of 6 or even 7 subjects for O-level or GCSE. The Key Stage 4 curriculum has been so squeezed with so much compulsory content that this has become an issue of time for the 3 sciences, time for music, time for computing, time for modern foreign languages and so on. I just wonder whether the First Minister would consider looking at the wider issue of Key Stage 4 and how we can give our pupils more options in terms of the curriculum so that we can develop some of those subjects which are so important for an advanced economy.
I'm glad the member enjoyed my singing in 1983. Had the cameras been following my entire teenage years, they would have seen me studying physics at GCSE and physics at A-level too. I support the principle of those 3 sciences being able to be taught separately. And yes, there's a review in autumn 2028, but I think it's important that we do have a review and have a current understanding of whether the curriculum is doing what we need it to do. We remain committed to the successful rollout and delivery of the curriculum for Wales, but a review of the curriculum is something that we are eager to see as an ongoing thing to ensure that we have the kind of depth and breadth that the member mentions when it comes to what is offered in terms of school study and qualification. What my government wants to do, of course, is to make sure that we have the staff needed to deliver that and that they have the support and make it an attractive profession to go into so that future generations are in good hands, whether they study physics or music.
Question 5, Letitia Gonzalez.
Thank you. What steps will the Welsh Government take to raise education standards to ensure that every child has access to high-quality learning in every school?
Education is at the heart of our ambition for Wales, unlocking opportunity for every child and helping build a more confident, innovative and productive nation. That is why raising standards in every school is a core mission of this government. Through our new foundational literacy and numeracy plan and by supporting attendance, behaviour and our education workforce, we will ensure every learner has the strong foundations they need to succeed.
Thank you. In recent weeks, I've spoken with many parents across my constituency in Cardiff who are worried about falling standards in literacy and numeracy and the increasing challenges teachers face in supporting pupils with additional learning needs. Many parents simply want reassurance that their child will receive the funding, support and opportunities they deserve. And that goes for children attending Welsh medium and English medium schools. How will the First Minister turn his mission of improving standards and supporting every school community into action to give all children in Wales the best possible start in life?
I'm glad the member used the word mission. This is a personal mission of ours. It's a mission for this government. We have been clear that education and standards in our schools is an absolute priority for a Plaid Cymru government. We are proud that we have led the debate on this, trying to give education once again the priority of esteem that it deserves within the broader public service environment in Wales. Progress is already underway for our new foundational numeracy and literacy plan, for our review of the Learn to Travel measure and our assessment of ALN provision in Welsh medium education as part of our first 100 days commitments, and we'll be providing more detail on this later this term, as well as a timeline for the plan.
Lynn Neagle.
Thank you, Llwyddodd. In the spring statement, the UK Labour Government announced a further £555 million for Wales over 3 years. Most of that funding arose from extra money allocated to meet the needs of children with special educational needs and disabilities in England, and included £300 million extra for Wales this year alone, money that came too late to be allocated in the final Welsh Government budget. Now, we face exactly the same funding pressures with rising numbers of children with ALN with increasingly complex needs in Wales. First Minister, how much of that £300 million is your Plaid Cymru government going to spend addressing the needs of children and young people with additional learning needs?
The member has more knowledge than most from her previous role of the challenges that we face in education. It's important to point out, of course, that the money in England was in order to clear historic debts. Now, it's not for me to praise the former Labour minister, but those debts were not here in Wales. So it is not additional funding, as it were, for ALN. I think that's something that is for us to bear in mind when we recognise what this funding actually was. The former government managed to take that pressure off, but what we also know is that there is extreme pressure on the whole ALN issue, and we are all, as members, made aware of the difficulties that families the length and breadth of Wales are faced because of challenges with delivering ALN. Already, measures have started to be put in place by my government to look at how we make sure what we have a sustainable level of ALN provision so that parents understand what they are able to get for their children through the education system, and that government is in a sustainable position to deliver that.
Diolch. The reality is, of course, the former Welsh Labour government, propped up by Plaid Cymru, have let down our pupils, our teachers and school staff across Wales. And that's been for 27 years. For too long, standards have fallen, whilst excuses have risen. Our schools are underperforming, underfunding and failing to deliver the outcomes that our young people deserve. Wales has the lowest PISA results of all UK nations. Attendance remains below pre-pandemic levels. 1 in 5 pupils is reported to leave primary school functionally illiterate. The evidence is clear. Standards have slipped, discipline has deteriorated, and too many children are left behind. And to be fair, when it comes to ALN, when it comes to ALN, they are the unheard children of Wales. Will you now, as the First Minister, commit to delivering a purpose-driven curriculum that raises standards, ensuring that every young person develops the essential life skills they need to reach their own full potential? Diolch.
This is the first opportunity for us to have a Plaid Cymru government, the first opportunity for us to put our principles into practice in government, and striving for the highest possible level of education standards is a core principle as well as a policy of my party and of the government that I lead. We have a proud record as a nation in the delivery of education, one of the first literate general populations anywhere in the world. Those standards and those levels of achievement have been allowed to slip. We will, as a government, not turn a blind eye to that, and I hope the member sees that in placing this among our key priorities, education, health, job creation, cost of living and standing up for Wales, we are serious about delivering. And already the work has begun on that foundational literacy and numeracy plan. We expect to be held to account for our work and our record in raising standards that are long overdue in Welsh schools.
Question 6. Claire Archibald.
First Minister, what plans does the government have to address the ongoing issues in all areas of social care?
We will drive change across social care to tackle pressures and improve access to support. We will shift care closer to home, helping people live independently for longer. We will improve joined-up working, support unpaid carers, and set clearer national standards to build a resilient system people can depend on, we will progress our national care service and move closer towards care that is free at the point of need.
Thank you so much for your response. As a carer myself, across Pembrokeshire and Caerdydd in my constituency, Labour has reduced the clinical role in our rural hospitals, and the community care to fill the gap has simply not been put in place. The result is delayed discharges, families left struggling, and many people denied the chance to spend their final days at home with their loved ones. We have providers across West Wales handing back contracts, refusing referrals and shelving expansion because they cannot recruit the workforce. So after 26 years of Labour-led government supported by your party, isn't it the truth that rural social care has been neglected and left to pick up the pieces? And what concrete action will your government take to restore frontline social care in West Wales? Diolch.
We are determined in everything that we do to deliver a more joined up health and social care system, to reduce fragmentation and improve the patient experience. And we must do everything that we can always to ensure consistency of care in all parts of Wales. Call it the postcode lottery, if you like, whether it's your quality of care, the level of provision. We have to make sure that no area is disadvantaged. And the delivery of rural care, rural health care and care services is something that is particularly relevant towards that. And as we progress towards a national care service, we have to remember that word national means something. That care service is something that has to be relevant and sustainable in all parts of the nation, bringing health and social care together with shared, clear accountability. And people in rural Wales should know that this government is on their side, as people in urban areas can too.
Peter Fox.
First Minister, we see so many people across Wales stuck in hospitals because of the lack of social care. Now, to make sure our social care system works as it needs, in your manifesto, you said there is a need for workforce expansion and pay reform. Now, to deliver that, you will be expecting, no doubt, local government to invest more. To enable this, can our councils expect a significant uplift in their future funding, or will you be expecting councils to find this within their existing resources?
Local government is a key partner, as the member knows, in the delivery of care. It was one of the reasons why we ensured through the agreement on the budget for 2026-27 that the firmest possible foundations were laid for local government because of the significant pressures that they face on care, as with many other issues. We look forward to having those constructive relationships with local government leaders throughout Wales to deliver the sustainability that we can within the resources at our disposal.
Cwestiwn 7, Benjamin Hodge McKenna.
Thank you, Llwyddodd. What action is the Welsh Government taking to support the hospitality sector to safeguard businesses and jobs?
Our manifesto included a range of specific commitments to help reinvigorate our town centres, including reform of the non-domestic rates system. We will explore how to use all the levers available to us to support a thriving, modern hospitality sector, working in collaboration with businesses and communities.
The hospitality sector in Wales generates £5 billion in economic activity and supports sectors like sport and tourism. Alongside that, venues like pubs, restaurants and cafes act as social hubs across Wales to help combat loneliness and give people a place to meet with friends and family. The industry also employs more than 160,000 people. Like many people, my first proper job was working in a pub. The experience that gave me helped me develop foundational skills that I carried forward through the rest of my career. Unfortunately, that pub I used to work in has now been forced to close. Like many other hospitality businesses, they simply could not cope with rising costs across the board. Will the First Minister commit today to reviewing the business rate system for all hospitality businesses in Wales to make the industry more competitive, support local business and grow the Welsh economy?
The member touches on many things that I certainly agree with. You know, the role of the community pub as a third space, as it was described to me recently. You have home, you have the workplace or school perhaps, and then you have that other place where we need to congregate. And it may have been chapels in days gone by, but we need to look at how we build those community hubs, and certainly the pub can be a big part of that. We are determined in looking at that rates issue, to put it in a wider context. And yes, we will look at what we can do around rates relief. It is a manifesto pledge of ours, and the Town Centres Task Force, in our first 100 days, will explore the options for reformed business rates that better support high street regeneration. But we have to put it in a wider context as well. There are other measures that we're determined to take to create a new vibrancy on our high streets, including looking at how planning helps, and it certainly will be one of those issues that our new National Development Agency will look at, how we support those businesses to thrive, and by that bringing new life into our town centres.
Question 8, Gareth Thomas.
How will you remove barriers and ensure disabled people's rights are fully embedded in law and public life in Wales?
We will take forward proposals to incorporate key United Nations human rights conventions, which includes the UN Convention on the Rights of Disabled People, into Welsh law. This will build on existing rights and protections and embed international standards in the way devolved public services are designed and delivered. We're also committed to deliver a robust and action-oriented disabled people's rights action plan with clear lines of accountability and regular and transparent reporting on progress.
Supplementary.
Okay. First Minister, removing barriers and embedding disabled people's rights in law and public life must begin with clear commitment to social model of disability and recognising that it is society, not impairment, that disables people. That requires a rights-based approach across government and with clear duties on public bodies to promote equality, inclusion, accessibility in everything they do. But this cannot remain at the level of intent. We need a robust disabled people's rights action plan with measurable outcomes, clear accountability, transparent reporting to this Senedd. We must also remove barriers to participation in employment, transport and housing, public services, and actively support disabled people into leadership roles. Crucially, disabled people must be central to decisions making, shaping services and ensuring accessibility by default. So how will these commitments be enforced? How will progress be measured? And what formal role will disabled people have in holding government to account? And with 21% of people in Wales being disabled, why is there no dedicated Minister of Disabled People?
I agree with the points made on the need to embed in everything that we do the rights of disabled people. Here, I would hope that we could have agreement across this chamber on the approach, and it's about building on work done by the previous government too. We have a disabled people's rights plan published in December of last year, a 10-year plan with actions ranging across government, an external advisory board established to ensure actions are transparent, accountable, responsive. The next meeting actually is taking place later this month. So we will build on that, and I certainly want to invite members here to be able to contribute to that work. Yes, there should always be a role for disabled people in formulating and in enforcing policy, and I'll end by saying that I absolutely, of course, agree and align myself with the social model of disability. We are fully committed to that as a government.
Question now, Shavtaj.
You'd expect me to talk about Fair Work as the former General Secretary of TUC Cymru, so that's me declaring an interest. So Fair Work was a key priority for the last Welsh Government, and because many workers in Wales...
Put the question first.
Okay, so the question is, how will the First Minister deliver fair work for public sector workers across Wales?
Diolch. We will deliver fair work by embedding social partnership at the heart of public services and government, recognising workers as experts, ensuring they are heard in shaping service delivery and working conditions. We will also adopt a fair work first approach to encourage fair, safe and secure work rooted in dignity and respect. These were central messages in one of my first engagements as First Minister at TUC Cymru Congress.
The newbie in town, so I'm still learning. As I was saying, so Fair Work was obviously a key priority for the last Welsh Labour government because lots of workers in Wales still actually face serious issues such as low pay, job insecurity and weak employment rights, which the UK Labour government is now actually addressing by introducing the employment rights legislation. And having addressed TUC Congress, it's really good to hear that you are committed to Fair Work. But the proof will always be in the pudding, and it's very important that every public sector in Wales understands that they will not be in a position that all of a sudden that they will see their terms and conditions downgraded or Welshified negatively.
I mean, the proof of the pudding will indeed be in the eating, and the eating in this case will be about whether we measure up to the promises that we have made on our commitments to not just continuing but strengthening the social partnership model that was previously in place, and not just delivering but strengthening the Fair Work being embedded as a principle at the heart of our public services. It's about delivering better jobs. It's about delivering stronger public services, a fairer Wales, and workers, employers, government sits as partners on the Social Partnership Council, and my job is to make the most of that partnership and deliver for the people of Wales.
Ac yn ola, James Evans.
Diolch, Llwyddodd. Will the First Minister outline the Welsh Government's priorities for agriculture?
Agriculture is the backbone of our rural economy and the beating heart of our rural communities. This Welsh Government will provide strong support for our farmers. In our first 100 days, we will confirm a multi-year funding cycle instead of the current one-year Sustainable Farming Scheme payment, commission an independent review of the bureaucratic burden on family farms in Wales, and begin work on a new and comprehensive national food strategy.
First Minister, over 2 decades, the Welsh suckler herd has fallen by over 40% here in Wales, and that's put a huge pressure on our critical mass of livestock numbers. We've seen it in our abattoirs across the country. With the numbers dropping, that puts huge pressure on jobs and future security for those abattoirs. Your party in the past has supported the Climate Change Committee's recommendations of lowering livestock numbers. So can you today, you have, First Minister, I've seen you support policies in this chamber on it, so you're nodding that you don't agree with me. But First Minister, I want to know clearly, and I'm sure the agricultural community do as well, what are your government going to do to make sure we increase the number of livestock units here across Wales to safeguard our food security and make sure we protect jobs in our abattoirs across Wales?
So our job is to support agriculture as a key pillar, not just of the rural economy, but of rural society. This government has not supported or called for a reduction in livestock numbers. This government has supported environmental policies, but the farmers that I know and those that I speak to want to be seen as being environmentally responsible, and all the actions that we want to pursue as this government is to help agriculture be more sustainable and more profitable and more environmentally sustainable. Now the member might believe that that's not possible, but I'm afraid he's fighting a losing battle there. We have to make it possible, and the agriculture industry is telling me that they want that to be the case. We can make our family farm more sustainable. We can use tools at our disposal to support agriculture in many different ways. I've referred to some of them already, on TB, on NVZs, on the food plan. Measure us on our success in doing so, but we will be supporters of the Welsh family farm in a way that no Welsh government has been before.
Diolch Prif Weinidog, diolch aelodau hefyd. We covered a lot of questions there, so diolch yn fawr iawn, diolch yn fawr iawn. Cyn mynd ymlaen, galwaf ar Andrew R.T. Davies. Andrew, diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you for having a quiet message with me. You want to clarify something on the record.
Yes, thank you. I should have declared a point of interest on the supplementary question on bovine TB, and I would like that to be on the record. Thank you.
Diolch yn fawr iawn.